we are now testing the oil pressure, which should be 9 bar. So as you can see on the gauge, that is at 9 bar. Right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to be testing the CO2, the CO, and the CO stroke CO2, including the O2. We're using my Testo analyzer. Now, basically what I'm doing now, I'm running the boiler, obviously. It's a good idea to let the boiler run for a good 10 minutes, just to let everything clear normally. What I will now do is put the probe into the flue analyzing thing of the boiler, and as you can see, I'm taking a reference from the manual to see what CO2 is required for this boiler. Now this boiler is actually 12.5%, and what we do, we'll leave that on, we'll let the reading stabilize, and then what we then do, we will then record the information. Now what I've got is I've got a printer, so what I generally do, I will print that out, attach that to my CD10, CD11, so the customer can put that with all their records. That will go inside the instruction and installation manual, and then I can obviously hand that over to the customer. Before that, I do register it with Offtech and Worcester Bosch to give them their warranty. So as you can see now, I'm just double checking everything just to make sure it's running correctly. I also do a smoke test as well, which would be between 0 and 1. So we're going around the side of the boiler now. As you can see, we've got 11.62. Now I will correct myself at this minute. When I did double check the instructions, the CO2 on this model is actually 11.5. As you can see now, I've turned the printer on. I've sent that information to the printer, and then as you can see, with these Testos, you've got to make sure you get that infrared right in front, because otherwise they don't always pick up. Again, look, it really brasses me off with this bloody Testo. You know, it cost me over £1,000. It's been back to Testo, God knows how many times. But as you can see there, look, just by lifting it up and getting that reading. Now that reading will be sent out to the customer. Right, so now we're up in the attic. The next thing we've got to do, although I have flushed this pipe work initially, but I always like to do a final flush when the boiler's hot, when the system's hot rather. So as you can see here, I've got Fernox. I always use Fernox, never use anything else. So I use F3, Fernox F3 in the bottles, because I can literally pour this into the magnetic filter. So I use an F3 cleanser and an F1 inhibitor. So as you can see now, I've just isolated the isolation valves either side of the magnetic filter. Now this is a 28mm magnetic filter from Worcester. I always use everything Worcester. I don't use any other brand of filter because again, it adds to the guarantee, etc. Now what you can see, I've used a small bit of hose pipe. I'm draining down the excess water that's inside the filter. Once I've done that, I'm gonna add the F3 as you can see there. I put that in. I put all the guts back into the filter again, tighten it up, then turn the valves back on, and then what I'll do, I'll go back downstairs and I'll turn the boiler on, leave it for an hour, give it a good old circulation, make sure everything's circulating correctly. As you can see there, always vent the top of the filter. If you don't, you'll hear gushing sounds, etc, etc. Now, after an hour, then what you got to do, you got to start flushing out the heating system. Now, again, I always carry on flushing it until that water goes clear. Make sure everything comes out of that heat system. As you can see, it's very cloudy. Well, that's the actual inhibitor with all the other crap coming out of the system. That's basically just a normal flush, not a power flush. It's just to get all the crap out of the system, like all the flux, that sort of stuff. Yeah, so that's how you do a bit of a flush on a new heating system. I've already flushed it before anyway, but because I've obviously put the boiler in, I just wanted to give it one more flush. Bye bye. Right, okay, so now we're back up in the attic again. I've got to carry on with the installation and all this pipe work, because when I was here last time I ran out of materials. Whilst I'm up here doing the insulating, I've also refilled the system back up. I've been around the property, got all the air out of all the radiators. The boiler's now running with everything on. Obviously, open up all of my air vents, make sure I got a good circulation. So anyway, so as you can see, I'm putting on the 22mm insulation. Now, as you've probably noticed, I'm only using a junior hacksaw. I've been doing this for quite a long time now, so I am quite used to doing my angles correctly. But there is a good product on the market, especially for cutting insulation, and I am going to get one of those. I think they're an amazing bit of kit. So anyway, so as you can see, I'm insulating all the pipes. Now, one thing I need to point out to you, if you notice, you can see all the tape coming away from the pipes. Now, I bought this tape from a merchant. I'm not going to mention the name. It's unfair on them. It's not their fault. Well, it is, but I'm not blaming them. But this insulation tape is absolutely crap. It just, you put it on one day and it just peels away. So when I come back, I've got a bit more work to do in this property. Because I'm a bit pedantic, I'm going to replace the lot and use a better quality insulation tape. I don't like seeing this. I think it looks rubbish. If you look, you can see I try to get all my pieces of tape equal on the pipe work to make it look neat. That's just what I'm like. Yeah, so again, for any haters out there, look, I don't make a habit of doing this. I always like to make a good job. It's what I'm paid for. Okay, anyway, thanks a lot. Okay, so now the pipe installation is nearly complete. Got a few more bits to do. But anyway, when I come back next month, I've got to do a second fix in the new extension. So I'm not putting any Fernox F1 in at present. That'll be done on completion. So yeah, everything's all working brilliantly. If you ever need a Worcester approved engineer, give us a call, follow us, subscribe to YouTube or WhatsApp. Thank you very much. Bye bye.